Hi, this is Frode and welcome to 5 Big Ideas. Today you'll learn how to live more wholeheartedly, how to get rid of the scarcity mindset, that vulnerability is a strength, how to tame the shaming gremlins in your head, and how to start humanizing people more. And on this channel I pick out my favorite 5 big ideas from books that help us think differently and actualize our potential and deliver them to you. So if you're new here, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking the button below the video. And today we have another insightful book, Daring Greatly, how the courage to be vulnerable transforms the way we will live, love, parent and lead. And the book reflects on people's inability to be vulnerable and how much misery it brings into their lives. And it also shows you how you can become more vulnerable, being willing to take more chances, step on the stage, or don't stop caring about what other people think or say about you, whatever else your problems might be with vulnerability. And the book is written by Brenè, who is a research professor at the University of Houston Graduate College of Social Work. She has held several TED Talks, shown a lot of vulnerability, and she is also the best-selling author of the book, The Gifts of Imperfection. Now, I'm excited to share some of my favorite ideas with you, so let's just get started with the first big idea, which is wholehearted living. And wholehearted living is about engaging in our lives from a sense of worthiness. And Brenè says that it means cultivating the courage, passion and connection to wake up in the morning and think, no matter what gets done and how much is left undone, I am enough. It's going to bed at thinking, yes, I am imperfect and vulnerable and sometimes afraid, but that doesn't change the truth that I'm also brave and worthy of love and belonging. So let's open ourselves up more to feel vulnerable, cultivating the courage, passion and connection, while also knowing that we are enough even if we didn't get everything we wanted to do done in a day. And the second big idea is scarcity. And this idea is about how lack, comparison and nostalgia contributes to the scarcity culture that we live in. First, for the lack. Do you feel like you have a lot of lack in your life? Do you feel like there's never enough money, love or relationships? Then, comparison. Are you constantly comparing your health, wealth and family and happiness to unattainable standards in the media and the television you see around you? One surefire way to stress yourself out with the comparison is to look at the Facebook and Instagram profiles of your friends, because they only show the perfect side of themselves and seldom their own struggles. And lastly, for nostalgia. Are you often thinking about the past, saying things like, those were the days, or remember when we were so happy? These are all signs that you are part of a scarcity culture, which is not entirely your fault. Brenè says that a weapon to use against the scarcity culture is vulnerability. The greatest casualties of scarcity culture are our willingness to own our vulnerabilities and our ability to engage with the world from a place of worthiness. To engage with the sense of worthiness, you need to cultivate the faith that you are, have, and you are doing enough, even though everybody else is acting out of a scarcity mindset. And the third big idea is vulnerability myth number 1. And vulnerability myth number 1 is that it's a weakness. And Brenè says that it's useful to look at the definition of the word vulnerability when discussing it. And she says that the word vulnerable is derived from the Latin word vulnerare, which means capable of being wounded. While on the other side you have the word weakness, which means the inability to withstand attack or wounding. Just by looking at the definition of these words, it's easy to see that they have no common connection, the word weakness and vulnerability. And by the way, when Brenè had a TED Talk, she asked her audience, how many of you struggle to be vulnerable because you think of vulnerability as a weakness? And then hands shot up across the room. When she then asked, when you watched people on this stage being vulnerable, how many of you thought it was courageous? And hands once again shot up across the room. And she concludes that we love seeing raw truth and openness in other people, but we're afraid to let them see it in us. So remember that when other people are watching your vulnerability, For example, when you are stepping on stage, expressing your feelings, or being interviewed, they are actually drawn to your courageousness. And therefore, let's embrace the fact that vulnerability is a strength and not a weakness. The fourth big idea is, what are your gremlins saying? And the gremlins are really a metaphor for the hideous thoughts we all think about ourselves when we are trying to get our work done, or express ourselves, or do anything else which requires vulnerability. And it's also synonymous with the word shame. And shame derives its power from being unspeakable. Just like the exposure to light was deadly to the gremlins, exposure to words is deadly for the shame. And Brenè says, shame resilience is the ability to say, this hurts, this is disappointing, maybe even devastating, but success and recognition and approval are not the values that drive me. My value is courage, and I was just courageous. You can move on, shame. And Brenè gives us some awesome tools for silencing our gremlins, and she calls them the three ninja warrior gremlin moves. And the first one is to reach out to someone you trust and express your experiences and feelings to them. The second move is to talk to yourself lovingly, for example by saying to yourself that I am enough or I did my best. And the third one is to own the story in your life. You are the author, so you get to write the ending. Brenè often says to herself, if you own this story, you get to write the ending. So when your gremlins go nuts in your head, remember to reach out, talk to yourself lovingly, and write your own story. And the fifth big idea is I it or I you. This idea is about how when you treat people like objects, we dehumanize them. And you treat people, and you have an I-it relationship, treating people like an object when you are not looking at the cashier in his eyes, when you are not greeting the bus driver, and when you are blurting out your annoyances to your customer service agent, even if he is only trying to help you and is not a part of the problem. And you perform an I-you relationship when you look the cashier in her eyes, when you greet the bus driver, and when you calmly state your problem to the customer service agent. And in other words, you see the person as a real human being, as a living creature, as somebody who's got real feelings just like you. And the process of humanizing people is really simple. It can be just smiling or nodding when you see them, and it can be greeting the bus driver. Try it, and you'll see that you'll soon feel better yourself, and the other person will also feel better, usually. And this reminded me of a quote from Dale Carnegie in the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, where he talks about the effect of a smile. Your smile brightens the lives of all who see it. To someone who has seen a dozen people frown, scowl, or turn their faces away, your smile is like the sun breaking through the clouds. Now, from a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this video? And if it's 9 or less, can you give me some feedback on how I can make it a 10? And if you like this video, you'll probably like The Upside of Stress by Kelly McGonigal. And if you want new videos every single week with 5 big ideas with the books that help us think differently and actualize our potential, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking the button below the video. Please like this video and share it with your friends if you receive value from it and if you think they will benefit from it. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'm looking forward to share more great ideas with you soon. Have an awesome day. See ya.